I got a whole chicken here, and I'm gonna break it down. That's it. That's the video. Well, that's part of the video, and then I'll make a simple chicken stock with it. So, chicken here, it's tied up. Let's free the legs. Even if I'm roasting a whole chicken, I wouldn't put it like this in the oven because the heat is not applied like evenly if you do it this way. I'll probably do another video on roast chicken. In order to separate the legs, you just kind of run your knife through here where there's a good amount of skin, and then you kind of make an incision in there so that you could start popping your joints. Same thing here. Doesn't have to be super deep. You just want to open it up a little bit, and then, well, let's just do it like this. You grab the legs, okay, and you hear that pop. You hear that pop, and then everything is much easier. So it's now all popped, and then if you stick your thumb in there, you can feel the joint here, like right in here, and then you just want to cut right alongside it. So I want to use my finger to feel where the bones are, and you don't want to cut through bones, you want to cut around them. So I'm going to go in here, and then feel the bone, which is here. So I'm going to go in, cut the skin off. It's around here. Go in, and then turn. Go like that. Okay? That's, well, ignore that piece of skin that's stuck there, but that's one leg. And then the exact same thing to the other side, or not the exact same thing because it's, it's symmetrical, which makes things a little bit tricky because, if you're ambidextrous, then sure, you can switch your hands, but it's the same idea. So the bone, the joint is here. So I'm gonna cut inside. And then once I meet the bone, I'm gonna turn, just right here. And you just cut along here. That's my second leg. So boom, in no time, a pair of legs out. And then I wanna take the breasts off. Well, that's an extra layer of skin for no reason. There's that. There are a lot of ways to do this, and there are a lot of sort of cuts you can get from the breast part. You could take the skin off and then split it down the middle, which gives you your box standard boneless, skinless chicken breast. But I like to keep the skin on and take the bone off at the same time. So this is how I like to do it. I'm pretty sure there are better ways to do it, but I just, this is what I'm used to doing. So here in the middle, there's sort of an indentation. I just cut right through there. Okay, right down the middle. And then sort of create a channel in the middle. Well, could use a sharper knife, but it works. And then you can kind of feel the breastbone. In this case, it's a little bit to my right, to the right side of the cut, which means this part is already kind of detached from the bone. And what you want to do is carefully just go down the middle and kind of trace your cuts and use your finger to you know, kind of clear the road a little bit. And you can feel where the bone is, so you want to kind of cut as close to it as possible. And see, that's already opened up. And it's all very tender here, so you don't really need to force your way through anything. Just keep making these cuts. Keep feeling the bones, and it opens itself up. You know, like this is a blade of bone. That's the thing. You know, and then you just almost like peel it away. And then once you get down to here, you have a few options. So what I like to do is I like to feel the joint like right down here. So the wings are going to be connected to the breast the way I'm doing it. And you just want to kind of, again, you don't want to cut through any bones. You just want to cut down and keep feeling where the joints are. You can just kind of cut in between them. And there you go. This is one piece of breast with the wing attached. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, and then I'm going to deal with the wing situation. I'm not hammering through anything. It just comes off. And boom, there you go. So this is the carcass. And here I have 1, 2 chicken breasts. And this can then be used to make stock. So I don't really like chicken wings. I know it sounds absolutely blasphemous, but it's just not my thing. But there's one thing you could do. There's one cut of chicken. It's called chicken supreme. It's basically a piece of boneless skin-on chicken breast with the drumette attached to it. So this is what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna cut right here. And then you basically wanna pop this part off. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. Yep, there you go. And then once it's popped, just have to cut right down the middle. Just wanna give that another pop. See how the bone pokes out, and then you just cut through there. That's a wing, and that, if I'm not mistaken, is a chicken supreme. Give that a trim. Get rid of that piece of fat here. Okay. That's a chicken supreme. That could go straight in the pan for like searing. And I'm gonna do the same thing to this piece here. 2 wings, 2 chicken supremes. I think I'm gonna cook this one for dinner because this one's prettier. I don't know. There's, you know, less skin on this piece for whatever reason. It's probably because I kind of mess it up a little bit, but not really, you know? But that's that. So 2 chicken supremes, 2 wings. So now, the legs. There's a lot of ways to deal with that as well. I'm gonna debone both pieces. So what I like to do is I like to kind of cut around here so that all the tendons are completely sort of broken. Oh, another thing about deboning chicken legs is that you can then use the bone to make stock, so, you know. And then you want to kind of expose the bone on the drumstick side. Just kind of score it almost. You want to open it up. Again, if you have a sharp knife, this is much easier. You see how the bone is exposed now? Right here. And then just kind of keep doing it. Next thing I like to do is to find where it turns. So again, the joint. You know, the bone of the leg is obviously L-shaped, so you want to kind of find where it goes. You know, and also it's easy if you just feel it. The joint is like right here. So I want to expose the bone of the other side. So now I can see that the bone is here. And the next thing I'm going to do is kind of almost like scrape the meat out off of the bone. So I'm using the back of my knife. Just kind of scrape down like that. And that's why it's important to cut off all the tendons, because if you don't, nothing's gonna slide completely off. And once you kind of get to the bottom, you can stop and just kind of nudge the meat away from the bone a little bit with your thumb. Again, every movement should be very careful and kind of controlled. Here I want to cut off some of the tendon again. And then it's kind of the same thing to the other side. Peel off. Like the general idea is just to carve around the bones. Boom, there you go. Bone is off. This is staying intact. Still one piece. Now what I like to do now is to feel if there's any sort of cartilage, which there is. It's right here. You just kind of cut it off then. One piece of chicken leg. Everything's still intact. Really nice. And you can kind of score this a little bit to make sure that everything's kind of nice and opened up. Don't cut through though. And this step is also just optional, you know. But there we are. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other piece. So, here we are. Second piece of chicken leg deboned. So, 2 breasts, 2 wings, 2 legs, 2 leg bones, and carcass. And voila, that's how you break down a chicken. So I have this, now what? Now I'm gonna make a stock. I'm gonna take this chicken carcass, chuck that in the pan, see how it fits perfectly? Great. 2 leg bones, sit that in. 1 on the side, you know. And sometimes I add the wings. And when I do add the wings, I like to score these a little bit to release some of the collagen into the broth. You know, that's what gives you that sort of lip coating sensation when you drink soups and when you like taste sauces, you know. But today I feel like cooking these, so I'm not gonna do that. That's basically it. 1 carcass and 2 leg bones. So I've filled the pot up with 3.5 liters of water-ish. You want to almost fill it to the top. At least this is how I like to do it. And then once you're done, you can reduce it to like, you know, whatever you like. This is cold water. Everything is cold. Now I'm gonna turn it on to high and wait for it to come up to a boil. Now, this is one way to make it. The other way would be to roast the bones and then put it in. I like this way because I feel like it's pure chicken flavor and it's more subtle. I can do more things with it. So this is a lot easier. So cold water, cold pot, bring it up to a boil. You don't need to put the lid on. The lid, like you don't need the lid at any point through this stock making process. So now it's just a waiting game. And I can probably clean up and decide what I'm going to do with these beautiful pieces. All right, so it's been a while. Enough time for me to get everything cleaned up. So there's quite some scum forming. The whole thing is still not quite up to boil yet. I'm keeping the heat on high. But now I'm going to skim all of the scum, or as much of the scum as I can. So I have a measuring cup with some cold water and a spoon, and you just want to get in there, you know, and get that stuff out. So the scum is going to come up like gradually. This is sort of the first skim. And especially as it comes up to a rapid boil, it's going to be easier to skim. Okay, now this thing is rapidly boiling. See how it's much easier to skim? Look at this. Just comes right off. Some of the fat has also been rendered from the chicken skin. And I'm also skimming some of that off. I'm not particularly like fussy about how much fat is left in my stock. I think it's nice, you know? As you chill it in the fridge, the fat is gonna rise to the top and you can use that to cook, you know? It's basically schmaltz, if you will. Yeah, give it a few more minutes. I'm gonna leave it untouched for a few more minutes. Meanwhile, this is my, oh God, reflection. This is my aromatic situation? This is my aromatic situation. So I'm going with like a, you know, Chinese style stock setup, basically. You can put whatever you want, you know, onion, garlic, dry spices. I have 1 scallion, a knob of ginger cut in half, 2 cloves of garlic, and about 8 peppercorns. You probably can't see them all, but this is it. And I'm not crushing the garlic cloves, I'm not smashing the ginger, I'm not like bruising the scallion, because the stock is going to take like 2 to 3 hours to make. At least that's how I usually do it. So you don't need to give the spices a head start in terms of, you know, them releasing the flavors. So that's all good. And just make sure these are all clean, because you don't want your stock to taste like soil, you know? Especially with like scallions, sometimes they're kind of dirty, but other than that, it should be fine. You know, there is a method of making stock where you bring it up to boil and then you discard all the liquid, and you start with, well, you rinse the bones and then you start with fresh pot of water. I don't do that. I don't think it's necessary. I think by bringing it up to a boil and skimming the scum, you're already removing the quote-unquote impurities and, you know, off flavors. And also this is just easier, and I'm pretty lazy. I think this looks okay. Just get that out of there. And I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna go in with my aromatics. So scallion, ginger, garlic, all of these boys. Okay. So I'm gonna wait for this to come back to a boil. Should be any time now. I'm not adding too much stuff. This is back up to a full boil. Now I'm gonna turn it all the way down, let's say medium low. This is gonna be left like this. Again, no lid necessary. And this is gonna go for like 2 to 3 to 4 hours. 3 hours of steeping later, this is what it looks like. Nice and clear. And this is ready for straining. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So, this is it. These are all the scraps. And liquid gold right here. About 2 quarts. Very clear. Very healthy looking. And yeah, that's how you make chicken stock. Now, all this stuff can technically just be discarded because 99.999% of the flavors have already been extracted. But I'm kind of hungry. It's kind of late. So I'm gonna take some soy sauce and dip all this stuff in soy and yeah, achieve the true zero waste initiative that I have never set out to do. Like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm thinking of making this a series, you know, everything about chicken. So yeah, stay tuned. One last stare at the liquid gold, and